This will be part 2 of finding the first writer's hidden formats in Samuel 1. And as you can see, I'm going to start with the text here. Oops. Not as good as I am usually with that. So, now the last video I went and explained why the ministered is wrong. Ministered means that they have to be a Levite. Samuel was not a Levite. So he cannot go into the holy room and ask our Creator for an atonement. Now, in the text, we're going to have Samuel being able to make the offering for the peace offering, which is really the truth of what Jesus is being why he died on the cross and why he is about a peace offering for the people. And I will get to that and explain that when I get into going over all the text, when it's all cleaned up and explaining a lot within these verses that you see here. Again, these are the reasons why I'm removing the blue text. The yellow text is words I'm using. The / with this type of thing means I'm changing this word to this word, from this name to this name. But when I'm got the word like sons here and putting it here, I'm just switching the order of the words. Later, when I find that when I'm reading the text later and I do it, I will note it off to the side over here as I switched the words around. Did not know to the word disobeyed. Also, I'm using the word highest priest because now Eli is our highest priest at this time. Now, these formats that you see, you got 1, 2, 3, 4 here, and then 1, 2, 3, and then 1, 2, 3. So this area is switching the formats, and these are what I'm trying to find is these here formats. Okay, so example, I'm thinking this is where, no, I'm right up in here right now. So the thing here is the format is going to change from a 4-verse to a 3-verse. And then this becomes the story of the first writer's formats. That what you're seeing here, me edit and look for. And the blue text, I just, like I said, all these reasons above. Now, if you wanted me to go over every word, you'll find that it takes me like 49 videos to do one book. So go look for those that you can see I've done all those, and then you'll get a reason of understanding why all these texts are getting out or being removed. And that way you can be satisfied with why I'm removing text. Here I'm just trying to get through as much as the text as I can without repeating every time and every reason of what I'm getting out. That just got ridiculous to me. Again, I'm using the word sacrificed here and not here. And I'm using his name instead of the priest and his attendants. Priest, when they're making an offering, the priest is going to sacrifice the animal, which is killing it, and then kneading it to remove the muscles, which is a replacement of or a representation of the action of the sin that's going to be forgiven, which means when he offers it up, the smoke will go into the air and it'll dissipate dissipate. In the thing here is the male on the outside would see this and represent that, yes, our Creator is going to forgive his not obeying the 12 commandments. And the 12 commandments are right there. So there you've learned something today really important that you've been lied to for a long time. There's 12 commandments. And these are the sin offerings. So when they're making an offering, it's really about a sin offering. And what these two brothers, one was the priest and one was the attendant, or his attendant. So that's, I couldn't put his name here because of his attendance. There could have been more than one. I don't know, but maybe this should not be there. I will be correcting the text again and again to get to the end, but that lets you know that what's going on here at this time. And they would take more cuttings of meat for themselves. I've had to add all these words to make the formats. Now the story is going to just start out with Samuel was 7 years now, and I'm putting his age in here because at this time he's starting to become. Look, males are, when they're young, they're obnoxious. So until they're starting to get around to the age to where and understanding what everything is about around them, I'm putting him at 7 years, and that's my influence on the text. So I'm going to make him 7 years old at this time. This is happening. And this is going to be, he is wearing a robe like the priest wear, and it was his mother, or her name, Hannah, would make for him, and she would bring him to him yearly. Now here, a little robe I put up here, this text, so just don't think I'm putting here. A linen ephod, you don't understand what the word ephod is yet. An ephod is actually the breastplate that the highest priest wears. So he wouldn't, that's not a linen ephod at all. So this, you're being deceived by until you understand what an ephod is. And it's this passing over celebration, why everybody comes once a year. That's why it's yearly here. Then Eli heard what his sons were doing to their tribe, because Eli understands that now that he's the high priest and his sons have replaced him, and they're doing this corruption of what I just put up here, taking more cuts. See, this is they didn't boil it. You got to understand, all this text here is not written by people that really truly understand what's going on, because the meats are going to be taken in on a plate and then hung up on hooks that are on the altar, and then given fire underneath the wood, put under fire from the fire stand, come over on a fire pan, and then it'll be up in smoke. And then the high priest or their priest will walk into the Holy of Holy rooms and meet with our Creator and ask for their atonement. And our Creator would talk to them from above his mercy seat. So with this boiling, and they would this is just stupidity. But the object here is do such a thing. Now, I've got them highlighted to show you the text here in the New American Standard Bible. I've got to get to this verse here because I didn't research this one, but it was just something that I'm pretty sure that when they do things like this, I'm so used to searching and finding out. Let's see, 23, do things. 23. Do, which means that wasn't in the Hebrew text. Such things. Okay. Sometimes what they do is they use this word 2 times in a row, and it isn't. So if I click on here and I look, you can see that they did use the word this once. But such they used it as 600 and some times. But when we go to this word, which is things, and it's these things. See how they would use 2 words together to put that together 50 times? And that's probably in such things. They would do it once. So the thing here is that's what I was thinking I was going to show you. But here, boy, they were using what is known as things as commandments or chronicles. Or this is the corruption that they don't want you to actually see of the Bible. How many times I use these words, just like I told you in the last video, that's why it was so hard for me to go to the Hebrew word and put back, say what was the major word here that they used the most and put it back up in here. And I just couldn't do that. So when we're seeing the words, do this things, do this, I've replaced it with do this is evil. So such things, well, we know what the thing is, so they're doing this, and this is evil. Evil, I'm using as the word against our Creator, okay? Wickedness is not as high as evil. Wickedness is just like we know the word wickedness is just being bad towards other people or causing badness. But evil will represent against our Creator. Circulating to the word gossiping. So I put the word gossiping because I like that word here instead of the word circulating. Here, this text, but if a male sins against YV, who can intercede it? Well, that's why the whole priesthood is set up, why the tent is set up. This is something that is so stupid to be said by Eli here. So that has to be removed. But they did not listen to his father. Here again, I have a format, but it's not needed, so I've put it 8 point. I should have done a lot of gray highlighting text, but this just wasn't needed in the text later. A man is not sent by a creator to Eli. It's a prophet that is sent to Eli, and we don't know the prophet's name. So is there another prophet at this time? Possibly. When I put all the text together, this is where I would put maybe his name in the text for us to actually understand who this prophet really is instead of saying an unknown prophet. Just moving the word from one area to another area. And this is how I would recorrect it without putting a forward slash and putting it on the word say instead of stead. The sons are kick at my sacrifices. Well, they're dishonoring him is what's going on. So this word kick, I think, is very stupid, to say the least. So let me just look over here. Okay, here's what's funny about the word kick. Okay, check this out. It's only used once. On all the 20,000 words of Hebrew, they're only used the word kick once. So, and this is where they used it. So this is a complete corruption of the text. We know that that word is not right. It just is a stupid word at this time. Oops, I gotta put some power in my tablet here so I can keep clicking back and forth. I use this as an assistant to show different scenes here. So what you didn't see there was me plugging my thing in here when I got the warning. So here, the word kick is really wrong, and I'm using the word dishonoring me. My tribe from Israel, and because I've tried to explain that the priests where they sit and how the tribes get there, those priests are responsible for only one tribe. That's why the Levites were supposed to live among the people of many a tribes. And then our Creator's speaking through this prophet that he will stop, not break your strength, the strength of your forefathers. That just is, he's going to stop your father's descendants, your forefathers' house. It just, what can I say, how corrupt the text is when I see these things like that. So what I also need to do here is continue. And my sign, it's not his sign, it's his prophecy. Okay, so this will be the sign. I had to add the word prophecy. Your two sons will both die, but his prophecy is that his two sons will die. Now, this is just saying that there wasn't prophets around. So this last prophet, even though we don't have his name, it's saying that there wasn't many of them around in those in Eli's days, because Samuel here in the story is going to become a prophet, and this is a good insight to how a prophet becomes a prophet by our Creator calling them to them and them not knowing, because Samuel is awfully young. So he's after 7 years old, so I don't know how many more years, so maybe he's 9 years, maybe he's 12 years, but we don't know that. But here, this is the story of Eli telling him that when you're called, or then Samuel knew. So not Eli. Eli knew, not discerned, but knew why he was calling the boy. So I still have him young here. So by leaving the word boy here, 7 to 9 maybe. So here, that is a good insight to how our Creator would present himself to a new male to become a prophet. And all this is needed to be added to reflect that. Went and laid down in his place. Well, I used the word bed and got rid of all these words here. Called to him, his servant, and he's going to do a thing in Israel. do something against Israel. Because this text I'm adding here isn't represented in the story above yet, but when you read the story below, how the ark is going to, or not, the chest for our Creator is going to be taken by the Philistines. So this is what this something against Israel means. But it's kind of like not really known, but this is the prophecy that Samuel is being told. And this is when the story doesn't go around saying that that's what's going to happen. But there's something that against Israel, and then this is going to happen. I'll remove Eli's sons. And then he tells them why he prophesied against his forefathers, for I have judged them. All of this would be about this, why he judged against them. Just doesn't need to be put there. I can sum it up in one word. But actually, Samuel has to be talking about that this something is going to happen, because this prophecy coming from a young boy, and he's probably telling the other priest what's going to happen, that he would be sharing his knowledge with them. Until it happens, then he becomes a prophet. So then, like the Creator's just telling him about this, and then he tells him what's going to happen. And then Samuel became YHVH'S prophets. So this story is not put in order because we have to have it happen before this text actually means something true, that it has to happen. This something in Israel that's going to come up. So the text is not put in order, and that's pretty much what's going to happen when I get done with the text completed. We'll have a very correct order of what happened. That's what's unique about finding the formats and getting rid of a lot of this stuff, that it does become pieces like a puzzle that can be put in order. A lot has to be corrected too, but it does become a puzzle being put together. Defeated to losing. I think maybe I could have left that as green. So our people fled. I had to add this because when the story is that a lot of people would go out and watch the battle. Okay. And so what this runner did, because I think I've got him as a runner. Okay. I don't see that right now as a runner. But it's somebody's from our people that were watching what happened. Because you got to understand these are hill countries, so you can be on another hill and watch what's going on. You got to understand the landscape of Israel, how the water level, and then maybe rarely 1,000 feet up on these hilly country. They're not mountains there, because the other mountain they can see has a white snow on it. So that is the mountain, and that is in Lebanon, because you can't call these mountains, because there's going to be like another 1,000 feet up that these are called mounts. This is what's known as Jordan today. You can see these mounts that overlook the hill country. So it's how they would see the land. But these hills, they could look and watch the battle. And then they returned to Shiloh, and were saying that we lost before the Philistines, and let us take his chest. So now there was a battle, and they said, bring it, come, and that it may come among us. That can't be happening. It has to be brought to them, and it was delivered. Okay, I'm a little. Because they were thinking that the chest had to be taken near the battle for this to happen. So here they're discussing this. Why isn't that there? That would give us more our presence of our Creator, of His promises, for them to always have this promised land, by obeying the commandments. I'm just telling you why they were thinking that they should have the chest with them. And then here it's his two sons took the chest. And when the chest came into our camp, everyone was yelling. The word all to everyone is better. Shouting, yelling. Shouted would yell because I needed ing. Shouting, I put yelling. It's just a word that I would rather use than shouting there. And then they fought, and then okay, I'm trying to put the story together. Okay, here's the runner. Okay, I knew that was happening somewhere. And a man ran from the battle line. Now, at this time, you have to understand the way they supplied news from one village to another or one town to another. They would have runners. And being that Shiloh is the capital city at this time for all the nation of Israel, they would have had runners. So he would have been out to the battle to report what was going on when he came back. So I'm using the word runner. And he had told what had happened. Ooh, well, excuse me. And this is what makes Samuel now a prophet. So, but the only thing is we still have to have Eli. He was sitting by a road waiting. And when the runner told many, they began to cry out. And he asked a woman. I put the word woman because he had to ask somebody. So I think a woman would have been able to, should be put into the text here as one who would have been walking by him. Would have heard it and then go tell somebody else. So what is the ruckus, commotion? I'm using the word ruckus. What's riling up the people? And she told Eli, and then the runner come over because she didn't tell him everything. She just told him that they lost. And then the runner said to Eli, he came from the battle, and they killed many of us and your two sons. So the runner has to know Eli and has to know his sons. Were priests. So the thing here is that's why I'm putting him as the runner from Shiloh, as he is well acquainted with all the people involved and know the importance of the people and why he would report these things. And this is what causes Eli to die. And see, here it is where he judged Israel. So it's kind of like he was a high priest at 50, he was gone, and then he judged Israel. He was the next one after he retired, becomes the judge of Israel. And I have to correct the years that he was there to put it in perspective. So I'm saying that he lived 50 years before he left the priesthood as the high priest, and then judged for 20 years. So he was 70 years old is what this text is saying. A lot of these numbers I got from our Creator's Hidden formats. And this is the talking about the battlefield was taken to this place, this city, and not this city. So let me get a map here to show you. Whoops. There you go. This is their capital city for the Philistines. When we look at today's, what do I say? These locations, we can find these are well built up and traceable back in history as ancient cities. They're just in rubbles today, but you can see that this one is the largest, and this one is the next, and then this is next, as these are the cities. Now, also, this city is going to be up here, and this is also going to be important in the story. But so the battle would have been taking place over in here or in here. Whoops. Yeah. This is what's happening right now. This is what the Philistines still. So the battle would have taken place over in here or in this area here. So they were taking it down to this city, which is their capital city. And then what they're going to do is they're going to take it. I shortened it up so it's not from this city and then to this city, but directly from this city to this city, I believe. Because this is where the temple is actually still there. I think the structure of their temple, and a temple is a place for an idol to be put, a false god. That's why you should never call the house of our Creator a temple. Now you know why. Correct your language to be more truthful. And it's not this God, it is Ra, their God. And then they celebrated. Why am I using the word Ra as God? Because they're close to Egypt. Egypt is the one dictating a lot, especially when they are the most powerfulest kingdom around, having the greatest army for hundreds of years. And it was really established as, and they had temples for their gods, and Ra was established as their god. So Babylon isn't quite built up yet. They kind of want to say Phoenician gods sometimes. Well, let's see what they've got for this what they call for this god here. This is 5. Chapter 5, verse 2. So I can go here and an idol for the Phoenicians or Philistines. They wouldn't have their own made-up gods. They would have, because they're so related and so close to Egypt. Used Ra, and Ra is, and his daughter, the moon goddess, is going to play very heavy into the text, because that's who some of the tribes of Israel start following and not believing in our Creator, and that's why he sends them into captivity. And so it has to be the same God all the way through all the text. They don't have their own little gods. Not when as powerful as Egypt is, they would say that God because they've been living there a long time and he is the one that doing everything for them to be this ancient nation from the time of Noah all the way through the text. So even Babylon is Ra and his daughter and their gods from Egypt. And it talks about Ra falling on his face to the land. It's not ground. We use land. The ground is something underneath. The land is what is visible to him. Just for you to understand why the text is being used as land, not ground. And it was heavy on the people. This heavy means that they were broke out in sores. They have tumors. I'm going to use sores. So tumors today have a different meaning. So these sores broke out on people, and the people knew this. They didn't saw this. They knew this. And they said once they knew that everybody had these sores, is what it's talking about, as a knew this. They said it's because of his chest from Israel. And then they take it to this city, okay? And like I said, I got rid of it here. Anyways, that's the location of from here now up to here, because they're going to send the chest to here. So, and because water is boundary lines, rivers are boundary lines, that's why some of these words that I'm going to be using are, and they're not lords, they're leaders. Lords are those that have, it could have been lords, but I'm using the word leaders because lords could be a very rich merchant that has many servants. So I'm using the word leaders instead of lords. Leaders now. I couldn't use rulers here because as leaders, they were dictating their own. They didn't get together all the time to discuss what was going on, but there was these leaders, or a group of probably brothers, or the strongest group of families from the Philistines were actually leaders. They didn't say we have a king. I had to add the word our people are free from it. It is being referred to as the chest, and you can see I'm using it as capital letters and representing it with the color, meaning our creator. So this also happens as how I'm respecting and honoring our creator in the text itself. Anything that's his or what he has said or related to him is all bold, capitalized in violet color. I don't think there's much here that needs to be, that I didn't go over. I'm getting rid of 2 to make it just 1 cow, and it's female. And when you see the word cow and you go through the text, you'll understand that a cow would be a female. I've added the word her to do this. Otherwise, I would use 1 bull, and we know bulls are hard to control, so that's a female. Bull would be called a cow. And they attached her, and then it went straight away in the direction of not this city, but this other city, Lankish. Okay. So see how this river here is dividing? So it didn't cross this river to go here, but it went straight away on the road from here down to here. Okay. So that's why I've got the word Simon here and not these guys here. So that's why I'm correcting the text. And this city actually is around at the time, and it was, I believe, for the Philistines at that time when they came into the Promised Land. So that is a well-structured ancient city that can be seen today by its ruins. All right, I think I'm going to stop here because they were by the, and then they came, and the Levites, and it has to be carried by poles. This is a requirement by our Creator, or a command by our Creator, so I'm having to add that. So to make it more truthful of what was really happening at that time, and they took it back to Shiloh. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop this one and say that's the end here. Then I'm going to pick up with the next video at this point here.